right, my friends. I cannot believe what you got for cards for... you got two cards. The Earthworm and the Stingray. Earth and water. And they both kind of talk about something similar here. The Earthworm is a newbie and, of course, has no backbone. They are just beginning to learn something. So there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of wobbliness, and perhaps insecurity. I mean, it's perfectly fine to be a newbie. We all start out that way in everything we learn, right? The Stingray, you see the backbone is all lit up with the colors of the chakras, is all about growing a backbone, growing a spine, empowering that spine. So we have a newbie, someone who's learning something, and somebody who is growing a spine, growing into confidence in whatever it is they have learned or are learning. And it's really amazing that you got these two cards together, honestly. All right, so we have the Earthworm, shy, hesitant, reluctant to share inner vision. We have all felt the woes of the Earthworm at some point along the way. The Earthworm indicates a newbie or novice working to establish confidence in a new field. Others around you may seem wise and experienced, but it's important to remember they once felt Earthworm energy too. This is a card to remind you not to be intimidated or lose hope. Mastery takes time, and you're on the right track. Besides, rumor has it, a beginner's mind offers the most valuable insights. When in balance, earnest, intelligent, valuable. When out of balance, self-conscious, apprehensive. To bring into balance, speak up and risk embarrassment. Then we have the Stingray, developing confidence, sense of self or spine. The Stingray represents a pivotal point in personal growth. The moment has come when the Stingray must decide between the old, easy, comfortable, and familiar, and the new, challenging, uncomfortable, and unfamiliar. Pressure from family and friends makes the decision even more complicated. You have family here in this card. No matter what choice is made now, it's inevitable that this dilemma will surface again and again, as the force of Dharma growing within the Stingray is too strong to ignore. When in balance, eager, wants to grow. When out of balance, blames others and quits. To bring in balance, move through the discomfort. So, you need to step out of your comfort zone. You are going to have people trying to tell you, no, don't do that. That's scary. That's new. That's different. You would change. Why would you do that? Don't listen to them. Okay. Whether those voices are inside your head or outside. Let's look at your tea leaves. These are here to help you determine whether or not this is your reading, so they should be familiar to you in some way. We have bowl, plenty of material things, so you seem to be fairly secure. We have carriage, a journey, either physical or mental, or spiritual, I would add. It seems pretty obvious that's been going on. Then we have ear, good news, and yet we have dagger, fear, worries, tense situations. So maybe your worries are not really justified. That's for you to determine. Then we have tree, affairs with your family, and apple, temptation will test you. So what did that book say? Yeah. Your family is definitely going to challenge the changes that you are making, or your friends. Could be either or both. Will you fall to the temptation, or will you continue on your way and find your Dharma, live out your Dharma, your purpose, which is truly to be yourself, as fully yourself as you can be. All right, so... let's see what Tarot has to say about why you are here. Why are you here? Why are you here? So, you're confused. think there's a desire for rapid progress. That's not always a good thing. Rapid progress, I mean. Sometimes it happens, yes, but usually after a lot of groundwork has been done. So the groundwork will be invisible, and it'll look like, oh, all of a sudden all these things happened. But really, the so-called rapid progress was the result of an enormous amount of groundwork that just isn't visible, or not as visible. So it can take years, and then something all of a sudden, boom, happens. And everyone says, wow, that happened all at once. No, not really. It was the culmination of years and years of work. So we have here indecision, confusion, many choices. Sometimes when you have more choices, that's harder than when you just have 2 or 3. And that's certainly in line with this temptation card. But this 8 of Wands, this rapid progress, it's in reverse. So maybe no progress is being made at all. Maybe you're afraid of progress. Maybe you're afraid it will never happen. But then we have the King of Cups. The King of Cups is someone who is knowledgeable of who has knowledge and understanding of their emotions. They have the ability to self-regulate their emotions, which is a wonderfully mature adult thing, and very healthy. And yes, it is something that takes years. You're not going to get there quickly. Ideally, you begin in childhood, but that is not always the case. What else? So we have the 5 of Pentacles. A lot. That's the scarcity mindset, lack mentality. A lot of fear and anxiety around survival issues, material things, providing for oneself, one's family. But we also have the Ace of Wands, which is inspiration, divine inspiration. So there is perhaps an idea, something that you would like to do, something that inspires you, or something you feel inspired to do. Perhaps your Dharma really is coming online, or at least you're beginning to head that way. Now we have the 4 of Cups. The 4 of Cups indicates that there's something you have not seen, you are not looking at. It's there, but you are focusing on the negative, and that is preventing you from seeing this other thing. So typically what is recommended for the 4 of Cups situation is meditation or contemplation. Maybe prayer, whatever helps you get in touch with the divine or change your perspective on things. Well, this is funny. This cracks me up every time this happens. You got the Stingray in the 5 of Swords. Unfortunately, it's right next to the Tower. The 5 of Swords is about self-sabotage. The Tower is about everything falling apart because the base, the foundation, was no good to begin with. So the Tower had to come down. There had to be change. Change is inevitable anyway, but this Tower was lacking the strength to continue standing, at least as it was. So maybe self-sabotage played a role. Maybe you did things to take that Tower down, whether you admitted it to yourself or not, because it wasn't good for you and you knew it. Now we have the 2 of Swords. The 2 of Swords is about choosing not to move. So this one is in reverse. I'm thinking there was a Tower. You played a big role in this Tower coming down. Whether you're willing to admit it or not. Perhaps you couldn't stand the stagnation anymore. even though it was of your own creation. So I know somebody who's very young, who was in a relationship, and they ended that relationship by doing something stupid instead of going to their then partner and saying, this isn't working. I'm sorry, I need to end this. So I'm getting that kind of vibes from this. Not that it was necessarily a romantic connection of any sort. I'm not seeing any indication of that. But you could still have done something like that, something stupid, to end a situation because it really wasn't tenable anymore. And instead of handling it in a straightforward kind of way, you did something kind of sneaky. So not the best way to do it, but it got the job done, and you do still have to deal with the fallout, which is probably worse than it needed to be. All right, let's see what else. This looks like a manta ray. They're both rays, right? Stingray, manta ray. Let's see, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 water creatures. And you have the dragonfly, which is a water and air creature. And a polar bear. You've got 2 birds, but other than that, there's a lot of water in this reading. And your first card out is dolphins. Okay, so emotions it is. You really need to deal with whatever is going on emotionally. So, dolphins, peace, harmony, helpful, effective communication, playful, humor, fun, in tune with others, collaboration, and joy. That's all very positive. Perhaps that's what you're working towards. Yet we have a delicate situation, vulnerable, one of a kind, handle with care. Transient, be precise. Elephant. This is gentle, but they're not that gentle. Keep your wits about you. Powerful, wise, trust, easily remove obstacles. Telepathy. I've always wondered about that. And supportive. Do people think elephants are telepathic? I have no idea. Okay, so tower. Jeez. I didn't even think about that. Tower, okay. This, of course, says something different than this, but I'm definitely taking it as a reference to this one. The things that came down that didn't last, that didn't endure. Yep. There was a revolution, and that was the end of that. And it may have been very much a surprise to some people. A game changer, the X Factor, unexpected. You really are just going through an awakening. That's what it looks like to me. Yep. We have the moon, so your intuition is coming online, subconscious things are coming up, memories, feels like magic, and you may feel like the divine is very active in your life. Things are changing. I think you are very aware of that. But again, this need to communicate. What is going on with this communication in this delicate situation? All right, communication. It says cycles, promise, karma. Reaping what you sow. These things tend to move in a spiral. Strategic planning, gain momentum, cause and effect. Again, karma. Karma is the law of cause and effect. And once again, an ending. Well, you do keep going round and round, don't you? What is it you need to know? Why are you here? Steady forward movement, a catalyst. Becoming the rule breaker, perhaps. Independent, nonconformist, fearless, unconventional, outside the box. Perhaps you're not terribly comfortable with that. Perhaps you don't think you have the resources for that, or you want to know if it will make you successful. That's not really the goal, not in the conventional sense. There may be a supportive friend or a soulmate, a faithful companion of some sort. You have some sort of stable connection that is a valuable resource for you in this mess. And now we have coffin. I hope you haven't lost that connection. Definitely starting all over again. You need to integrate opposing forces, get centered, and above all, weigh your options, make a choice. You have free will. What direction do you want to go in? Maybe not what you wanted to hear. Probably wanted something more definite. You do have free will, so you do have to make a choice. Let's see what healing spirits have to say to you. Perhaps you have a sense of a spirit guide? Or maybe you need to work on connecting with your spirit guides? All right. If you have a Dharma question, it says, carry the torch for others to see, wake up the world. So that's, sounds very hermity, honestly. Not. So the hermit goes into their cave to find their inner light. So they need to connect with it, they need to understand with it, they need to learn how to use it. They need to find their inner light before they can come out of their cave and be that light for others. To carry the torch so that others can be guided by it. And that may be what your role is or will be. Now, I realize that's a little vague because there are an infinite number of ways to do that. And maybe you are feeling very insecure about your ability to do that. Since we started off with the earthworm and the stingray. For now, just continue working on your spiritual connectedness, I guess. And it will take care of itself. The goal is for you to be as much as fully you as you can be. So if something doesn't feel like you, then it's probably not the way for you to go. But if it's something that draws you and it's scary, it probably is the way for you to go. For example, I felt drawn to becoming a beekeeper. Was it scary? Of course it was scary. Bees sting you. Beekeepers get stung all the time. But it was rewarding and worthwhile. Not that I didn't get stung. So, I am wishing you all the best. Your spine will activate. Keep going. Till next time.